Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
What is going on? Afternoon, everybody, or I guess evening, depending on where you are in the world. Molina Mike here, and got a fun show in store for you guys with some cool guests. I got a bunch of guests actually I'm bringing on this one, so it should be a ton of fun. But before we get going, I mean, listen, this is a show talking about pool, and as I was hanging out here, getting ready and setting everything up, I was watching the WPBA stream, and it looks like they're at Hill Hill. So make sure and go check that out. If you guys haven't already, you should be following the page for sure. WPBA on YouTube. Looks like they got Sarah Miller and Crystal. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that last name, but it looks like they're at Hill Hill at 7-7. So they're going to be live and free all weekend long. Lonnie and the gang do a really good job of providing the streaming. I think they actually got a secondary table today, which I don't know if they had that yesterday or not. But make sure show them some love. And man, I'm gonna have this on in the background here. So if I get a little distracted from time to time, it's because I'm watching some pool. But anyhow, let me know if you guys can hear me and see me all right. Like I said, this is a different show than usual. And actually, I'm probably gonna be live like twice today. I got a show a little later on too, just talking about things coming up in the pool world and things going on. Joy Hill says I'm watching it now too. Well, keep me posted, man. Let me know in the chat how the match is going. Although I do got it here in the background, but listen, part of why I love doing this, and obviously we love talking about pool and all things that kind of encompass that and go along with that. But I like hearing about stories that come from it, and you kind of get these like you see brands and you see a logo and you kind of just take it for what it is. But I love hearing like the history behind things and the stories behind things, and especially as you start to realize like how much family is involved in the game. And for me, that's just really close to home because obviously, I got my girls, and I remember like the whole reason why I got into pool was because my granddad when I was a kid, and going and visiting him and hitting balls on in the game room there on his valley bar table, and just it's something that's just been with me like my whole life. And so anytime I kind of get chances to hear, has looks like the Crystal girl took a swing at the 9 and scratched. Oh, brutal. But anyway, as I got to hear more stories, whether it's by companies or with players or whatever, it's something that I just love to talk about and showcase. And so this can be part of that. We got some other things that we're going to be debuting as well on the show. Team Pechauer is how I labeled it, and so I should have put Family Pechauer, Team Pechauer. I don't know, but titles I guess weren't really my strong suit. But let me just bring in the guest of honor out of Wisconsin. Let's start from left to right, boys. Let's start with an introduction if you can.
My left.
Who's that?
Mike Pechauer,
Joe Pechauer.
and I'm Jake Pechauer.
Oh, and you guys are from Wisconsin, no?
Yeah, Green Bay.
Green Bay. Man, so I'm assuming y'all are Packer fans, huh?
Oh yeah, big time.
I'm sorry to hear that. It was good having you on, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, so I want to just start off with the brand in general. And so obviously you guys have been around for a long time. Joe, I'll start with you. How long have you guys been in business, and have you guys always been based out of Green Bay?
Yeah, we have. My dad actually started out. He was one of the top players in Green Bay area. And one day I think he won about a $2.50 bet. And the guy didn't have any money, so he gave him an old pool cue, and it didn't have a shaft on it. So he had to figure out what to do with that and how to fix it. And he wanted to, since he was a hands-on guy, he wanted to figure out how to make a shaft. And that's kind of where the start was. And that was basically the same year I was born in '63.
Is that a real story?
That's a real story.
That's crazy to think about, that just some random pool game in the middle of America, and then just planted some roots. That's why I think life is just so interesting, because you never know what direction it's going to go and take. That's wild though to think about that. Just he didn't have a shaft and said, you know what, I'm going to do it myself.
Yep. That's
If you
kind
would
of
have had that $2.50, maybe.
yeah, exactly.
I know, no kid. That's what I mean. Like the whole industry would have just never been the same, and little did we know, what was to be. And so, so he was a hands-on guy you mentioned, and but how did that go over, like as far as with with your mom when he started getting into maybe doing this full time, and how long between then and starting to build? Like, what was that time frame like as well?
Uh, Basically, I remember when I was in high school, around 13, 14, actually, a whole bunch of my friends had to help haul a machine lathe down our basement steps so he could start repairing and working on cues, and he'd sell them out of the basement starting out. And then basically around 1980, uh, we both decided together. He said, if I quit my other job, he said, should we do this full time? And I was about 15 at the time, and I said, yeah, it sounds good. And it kind of started from there, and I started installing pool tables that we sold after school and get home usually around 9 or 10 at night. And uh, as we got going more and more, the cues got more popular and the tables less. So our emphasis just kept getting stronger on the cues.
I feel bad for those young kids who had to go and move that lathe down those stairs, because I'd imagine it was a heavy piece of machinery, and God forbid something slips, you're probably losing like a tip of a finger or something.
Yeah, one of the guys I think got banged up pretty good, and honestly, we're still using that lathe today in the shop, so it's a good one.
I believe it, because I've been in many shops like around the country, and it just always amazes me like how well built that machines were back then. Like
Yes.
they were built to last, and not only were they on the heavier side, but then it's like if it messes up, you just fix it and you keep on going, and that's part of like the I guess the chaos. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, where it's just like if a machine breaks down, all right, you got to stop your plans and everything kind of goes out the window, and it's time to just regroup and get to fixing it.
That's for sure.
And so your dad started the business. Obviously, you got involved, and then now here we are with now what, a third generation with your boys being involved.
Yep. Now we're into the third generation, and from when I took over from my dad around 2009, we kind of made that next step to that next level, and that's what I'm excited about with the boys now, is where we can actually take the company and where I can help them start and where they're going to finish from. It's really exciting.
Riley, I want to ask you, because so I got girls, right, and they'll enjoy pool from time to time, but like I think there's just this thing when you're a kid, you don't want to do what your parents do. It's boring, and you kind of just have this stigma, so to speak. And so was that ever the case for you boys growing up, where it was just like, that may have been grandpa's thing, may have been my dad's thing, but I don't know if that's the road I want to go down?
Yeah, for sure. It was never really a thought, actually, because he made it pretty vocal that he didn't want us to be part of it early on. He wanted us to do our own thing and chase our own dreams, go to college, figure life out for ourselves. And that's exactly what we did. Jake moved out, went to Boston. I got a law degree, and, he was kind of getting towards that point where, what are we going to do with the company? He was cool to bring us into those conversations. Obviously, we weren't, at the time in the place to come and be a part of it. But we were both, I think it was around 2022, 23. We were going to a pool tournament, Jake and I, and we were just talking about everything. And I had graduated, and he was in a position where he wasn't quite happy with his job. And, we were like, should we do it? And it was obviously more conversations after that. And then when we went to dad with it, he's like, absolutely. He wanted it to be on our own dime, not anything that's just been given to us. So, we could have taken the easy way out and just graduated from high school and, did what he did. Not that was the easy way, because I know it wasn't. But, we did our own thing and got our own experiences, and here we are. And it's been a lot of fun.
I'm sure as a dad, Joe, there's like, you got to really respect that and admire that and be proud of that part, seeing your kids kind of go their own way. And then at the end of the day, you obviously want them close, you want them nearby, you'd love to see them part of the business, but like you want to see them kind of, fly the nest, so to speak, and see what they can do on their own.
Absolutely. And the thing that we don't want to miss out on is the boys had experience coming in maybe not the office and running the company experience, but they worked all summer either laying bricks with patio bricks with one company, or working in the shop running rough machines and gluing. So they've done the groundwork that led up to that, and that's what helped them pay through their college. So that was pretty great.
And don't forget cutting the lawn.
And yeah,
There you go.
As early as we could step foot in here to do any sort of work, I think it must have been 13 or 14. That's where we were in the summers in between school, helping out the company, just learning a little bit of what Dad does, because we had never really seen that. But the transition's been awesome.
but actually, to also add to that, they were in here earlier when they were 5 and 6, driving their big wheels all around the aisles and scaring the crap out of everybody here, thinking they're going to dump all the cues out. So it's pretty cool.
Well, you know what? I can only imagine, because there's literally a lot of moving parts. But being in a shop is dangerous. You know, like, you got machines that are moving, and as a kid, you're kind of just intrigued, and you something spinning, and you're like, oh, I want to touch that. But it's like you can really hurt yourself, and I've learned the hard way. Thank God nothing serious, but like, how nerve-wracking was that for y'all? I mean, I guess from the kids, you guys are just enjoying life, but like, as friends and family, whoever's in the shop, are like, hey, who's keeping an eye and making sure they still come back with all 10 fingers and 10 toes here?
Everyone.
We had good big, strong, circular area in the shop. They could keep moving, so they kept it working.
So you mentioned, Riley, back in like 22, 23, those conversations amongst yourselves started happening. And Jake, when did it come, just, I'm unhappy where I'm at, to, hey, I want to go talk to Dad and see what's up here, because this isn't working out right now?
Kind of how, if Grandpa was actually paid the $2.50, maybe we're not here today.
Sure.
In the same respect, if all of us weren't at the points we were, so say Riley was a year older or a year younger, and he jumped into a law firm and has a job, I can't say that I would have, came back to do this on my own. So where I think Riley was, or could have said, it was really a joint decision. Like, we wanted to be in this together. And I think, like I've told you, I think on a few calls, the unique opportunity that both of us have to step into something so awesome. And we've been, best friends since high school. Before that, we were the competitive brothers that we have our battles. So it was just the right time. The company I worked for did some really cool things, got to learn a ton that I was able to bring back to this company. So I think it was the opportunity that presented itself at exactly the right time in human history that it ended up being the perfect decision for all of us. So really fortunate that everything came together at the right time. It's just appreciative of that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see it coming, Joe, or did they kind of blindside you a little bit?
They were slowly getting back into pool more, and honestly, they got into pool the most when they were both in college, because me being a college kid's dad, they had to each have a pool table in their houses, so they were the popular, fun guys to hang with, and that's where I think their passion really started developing more then, because otherwise it's just me going to work and there's them school. They were always into sports, so they were able to really get well-rounded before getting into here. So I think they pretty much had some good experiences that made them ready.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm in this like transition when it comes to my transition, but like this never-ending battle, it seems like sometimes with my girls, because they're always at each other's throats, and I try to teach them, like, I want them to learn to depend on each other and to count on one another. And as much as they can kind of like bicker and fight like all kids do, there's also this like sense of protection and loyalty that I just love when I start seeing it. And it's funny because my little one is actually the one who's like ready to go and take care of anyone messing with her big sisters. And I'm like, what are y'all doing, man? Y'all supposed to be looking out for the little one, not the other way around. But when push comes to shove, they always got each other's back. And so I'd imagine it's just great seeing it be a family business. And Joe, like, at what point or maybe it was something that your dad established, did you think like, this is more than a hobby, this is something that could be, you know, a lifelong legacy or generational legacy for many years to come?
Honestly, I think that hit me more about 7 years ago or so, when we started really getting into more sponsoring of the pros, and I've really never felt we have achieved the notoriety of a worldwide company really until then. And it's just, I'm a shop guy. I don't get out, and that's where these guys come in, to where they know what's going on in the pool world. They see it, and they tell me what to make sure to get done in the shop, to take care of that.
Give like casual fans some insight on that, Joe, like from the manufacturer side of things, like, because obviously your bread and butter is selling pool cues to league players. I'd imagine, at least that's what most companies are, you know. And
Right.
so the everyday players, and I have noticed, obviously you guys sponsor a lot of players, David, Sophia, Cass, just to name a few, April Larson, of course, for many years. But like, how when you're just in the shop going through day-to-day life, like, are you just into the bottom line type of things and just focus on building cues and turning them over versus what's happening in the league world and the pro world, whatever?
I am I'm a homebody and a shop guy. So when I'm at work, my head is in everything that's going on there. And that's why with the boys in the company right now, it's such a great addition, because they're able to see what's going on in the outside, and we can come together on that. So now they're letting me know, hey, this is happening, that's happening, and it's getting followed through with, because me being in the shop, that's where my whole day is. That's where I'm good at. And I don't want to be an office guy. And that's why if somebody wants to order a custom cue, something really nice, really expensive, they're going to work through these guys, or one of my other two great sales guys, because they're the ones that can follow through. I'm in the shop and I'm in 20 different directions all the time. So it's hard to focus on a customer that needs something quick,
Sure.
because then I drop the ball on something else. So, but now I'm pretty much closed off from the rest of the world. Every day I'm in the shop.
Are you
Yeah, every day.
Every day, 7 days a week.
you sound like a cue maker, to be honest with you, because it's like, and most times where I've been to shops, it's like in somebody's garage typically, you know. And so they'll wake up in the morning, have their coffee, they're there, and it's whatever it takes. If you're working 12 hours a day, you're lucky. You know, if you're working, 14 hours a day, that's usually how it goes. And you take a break for lunch but they're working men, as I'm sure you are as well. And plus, like, especially in this day and age, man, I mean, look, there's this, you gotta, like, I love dealing with customers to some extent, but there's also this layer of dealing with customers where, like, there's a bunch of tire kickers and people who are just window shopping and they only want to ask questions. And that can be time consuming in and of itself, because you don't know especially now with social media, because you're reaching so many more people, but at the same time, it's like, there's also that many more people to kind of get through as well, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Yep, the quick, immediate Amazon purchases. Not saying that they hurt us, but when so many people are used to, the instantness that this new world has provided, something handmade, custom, it's going to take weeks, may require multiple conversations to get to the perfect cue that someone is looking for. By no means am I saying it's a struggle, but it's a little bit against the grain of how the rest of the world kind of operates with how they purchase, or the consumerism now. So it's a unique industry and unique products to work with for sure.
Yeah, people want to go get their hamburger and want it now and do the drive-through and quick, and and dealing with custom cue makers like I have over the years, it's like it's not only just the customization part is great. I heard you guys got something cooking in the background here pretty soon. That's pretty cool that I want to jump into here in a minute. But like the other part of it is, it's like, I'm going to spend money with you, but then I got to wait. And that part for a consumer sometimes is difficult, because I don't want to wait. I want it now. I want it to, when is it shipping out? And so, how has that transition been like for you guys as the world evolves, and then kind of seeing patience levels drop, so to speak, or whatever challenges in that regard?
Well, first of all, I'll commend the 2 salesmen that have been with us for decades. We have 4 people always on the phone, and the amount of people that do follow up because they care. Someone had just called me a little bit ago asking about their lead time in their queue, and it's still weeks away, but I think the patience and just the gratitude we have for when people reach out to us, they're reaching out for a reason. And
Sure.
Salesmen who've been here forever, I tell everyone, they've been walking encyclopedias of this industry for me and Riley. To be able to learn from them has been awesome. So I think the customer service element that we have is something that we don't take lightly. In fact, it's something that we lean into and make sure that we do provide time for people that have lots of questions. And sure, someone might take a 45-minute conversation with us and they're not purchasing anything today, but it's important for us to give them the time that they're asking of us. And that's just how we've operated, and it's hopefully how we will continue to operate.
Yeah, I think it's just that old saying, it's how you treat people. And you're right, because I can't tell you the amount of conversations that I've had, whether it's with like people you just meet or people within the industry or whatever, where like you don't get that necessarily instant gratification, but like it plants some seeds to do business down the road. And that the way you talk to them, the way you speak with them, it's like, I'm going to remember that. And more importantly, when I remember that, when I go to league night and if my friends see all my new cool cue, they're going to go and tell all their friends, oh man, it was so great. I got to do this and that. And they were so helpful and so polite and all these things. That was something I always noticed whenever I saw you boys, like every year at the expo, as I brought up that photo a little bit ago. It's like you guys, it didn't matter when I saw y'all always just had this good smile on your face. I'd be brain dead at like 8 a.m. out there in Philly, and you guys are just, happy as can be and just enjoying life. And I'm like, man, what do they got in the coffee out there in Wisconsin, man?
No, those are fun shows, and we have a lot of people that come back for years and years. And actually, this year was the first year one of our sales guys didn't come out, and one of the women always looks forward to seeing him. And she came up and she's like, "Hey, where's Scott? Where's Scott?" And I said, "Oh, he didn't make it this year," and she was super bummed. But it's just the same people that come back, and it's great to see familiar faces and then follow up after the show. And those are, we don't get to many events or shows. It's really the BCA show in Vegas and this expo. So it's fun to get out and see people that have been supporting us for all these years.
We talked about players you guys are sponsoring before, and I also want to touch base on some events that I noticed you guys have sponsored as well. And I want to jump into what I noticed last year, which I thought was one of the coolest events, not just like on the women's side of things, but just in general. And part of the reason why was because of the location. I think there was an opening ceremony out there at Lambeau Field, which I thought was the coolest thing ever, at least from watching from a distance. Talk to me about y'all's involvement in the Women's World 8-Ball Championship and why you decided to even, jump on board to help support these ladies.
I'll say one thing, which is Riley is the only person that can speak on this because he put 99.9% of the effort in from our company towards this. So how he did last year, managing things, working with WPBA, this is just my little credit to him for everything that people had compliments about. I'm hopeful that Riley feels those in a roundabout way because of what he did last year. So go ahead.
Yeah, that was a lot. This year's, but no, it was so much fun. When the WPBA presented this as an event coming to Green Bay, we got to jump all over it. This is right in our backyard. We have a lot of great connections with some companies here in the Green Bay area. So we wanted to be all over it. So we were pretty much tasked with getting sponsors, being, in the Oneida's backyard. We went there, we laid out the room, talked with the people there, really did a lot of the work with the WPBA, of course. And one of those things that we wanted to do was give the women a really cool opening ceremony. And was obviously at Lambeau. You mentioned us being Packers fans. We're very fortunate to be season ticket holders. We have some relationships with people in the organization, and it really wasn't a difficult thing to get done. And it was awesome. I mean, we got to get the women on the field, which they really don't allow unless it's part of a tour. And they got to get announced. They carried their country's flags, which a let me tell you, it was not fun ordering all those flags on Amazon.
Yeah.
It was so cool. The women had a great time. It was a beautiful day, beautiful night. We had a football toss, a great dinner, had some guest speakers. It was so much fun. We had some players stop by. It was awesome. And so this year we're doing it again. We're not going to Lambeau, but we're going to Thornberry Golf Course. It's owned by Oneida. They actually had LPGA events there a few years back. So it'll be a good time. I think we're going to do a golf challenge that afternoon with some of the women. Hopefully they're willing. They don't get too sore before their event. It might turn into a putting contest or something. But we got the day blocked off. Hopefully have some more players coming out from the Packers to support and get the news out there. And yeah, it's fun. I mean, helping set up for those events. Some of the ladies were there and they're, wanting to practice, and I'm just kind of bouncing some ideas off them, hey, how do you want the seating to be? What do you think? And, they're just like, we're used to this. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, just because you're used to it doesn't mean, you don't have a say in what you want. And so we really let the women kind of decide how they want things situated, and, from seating to just where they should be, how they want to be announced, everything. We really made sure to bring the women's opinions into it. And I think it was a great event. I know they had a great time, and we're really in this year.
Yeah. So what was that feedback like from some of those ladies? Because obviously it's completely unique compared, like all those experiences in general, compared to what they're used to seeing around the world. Not that they're getting, treated secondary somewhere else, but like being on an NFL field, beating professional athletes like that, like that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. I mean, they all had their phones out recording it, all took pictures. I mean, it really is a once in a lifetime opportunity. A lot of people don't get that chance to be to a stadium like that. And, the women from different parts of the world that aren't familiar with American football, they didn't even know where they were at. So for that, it's like, this is so many people's dreams to be here and you don't even realize it. I thought that was really cool.
And you put on, which to the international player side, they may not have experienced a 4th of July in America, and it overlapped on 4th of July weekend. So Riley put together an awesome 4th of July party on the rooftop of I think, bar downtown. So for some of those women, it was their first time experiencing America's 4th of July. So there was a lot of really cool experiences. And I think that word experience is something that we leaned into, and it's how do we want this experience to go for the women that are the players, are the professionals here, and it has a better chance of being the best event possible if we're thinking about the experiences for them.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, I want to just touch base with you for a minute. Like, how much of a sell was this for you to kind of sign off on? Because if you guys hadn't had experience before, my first thought is, listen, one, it's twofold. One, it's great and all, and obviously you want to give back to the community and give back to the industry and all those things. But like, how does that affect the bottom line of things as well, jumping into such a big event, And so how challenging, or maybe what was any reservations you had, if any, when it came to, saying, hey, let's do this? And be honest with me, Joe. Come on.
Well, honestly, I basically lost Riley from April until the tournament because he was so focused and working on everything from flyers to sponsors to everything else and in between. So I can't say there was really much company work done by him during that time.
Sure, you love that.
But up until the tournament, I would say, yeah, this because of all the effort it took, I would say we're not doing it again. But then after the during and after that tournament, and being a part of that, watching Jasmine win and make that last 8-ball for the championship. I mean, those are things that I will never forget. And it was an amazing event. So
it was Hill too, if I remember right.
Yes. It was crazy amazing. And I couldn't, it's like, okay, when are we doing it again?
Yeah. That's funny to see, like, the way you kind of come out of it. Cause in the middle of it, you're just like, I can't wait for this to get over. You're so stressed and worried. And how is this going to go? How is that going to go when you're going through an event? But then to see all the way they appreciate it, and then to see the finished product, and then to come out feeling that way is pretty sweet. And so, but why have you guys decided as a family-owned business to kind of start over the last, let's say, 5-10 years to, I'm going to take on, sponsor more pros, do more tournaments, things like that?
It started out, obviously, with us, we start out with juniors, like very young. April Larson was one of our first ones. And that's where the joy and satisfaction, just helping the juniors out, has really been our model. And then we've kind of branched out a little bit to more regional players, some semi-pro players, reaching for David Alcady. I mean, going to that level, that obviously is way above and beyond what I ever imagined we would do. Now that we've done it, he's an amazing human being, amazing player, and he's up there in age compared to a lot of those younger guys that are all over the place in tournaments. There he is. But he is truly now. His game right now is as strong as it's ever been. So I love that for him. But really for us, it's the people that we're involved with more than their ranking and about winning first place. It's how they represent themselves and us. And they could never win a world championship, never win a first place, but be an awesome person that we want to be involved with just because of their character and what they do for the sport.
Yeah, no, I love that. And listen, I think quality over quantity any day of the week, especially in that regard, and the one thing on the note of David's play is that usually there's like this learning curve that comes with when players make a transition, where it's like you got to give them a good, maybe 18 months, and that's being conservative when it comes to maybe getting that back to where they were prior to a transition. David's just hitting, the same gear, if not even higher gear, wins the Philippine Open. I think he just came off a real deep run where he had a crazy scoreline going into like the final 16 out there at the UK Open as well. So, I mean, when it comes to the performance in terms of the equipment, looks like he's feeling just fine out there on the table. That's for sure.
I think he is. And the thing is, David is a person that David, Sophia, April, Janet. I mean, there are so many, and I shouldn't do names because I'm missing so many, but they all make us better at what we do. Especially David, because I didn't have a good jump cue. We had a good jump cue, but I didn't have a great playing jump cue until David said, I need a jump cue. And I don't want to play with anybody else's. I got to play with yours, but it's got to be better. So we came out with our pro jump. And when he says it's good enough, then I feel we're there.
Yeah. What's it like you being a shop guy, hearing that, hey, I want something that's going to perform better? Like, how much do you take that on as a challenge, and how much effort you put into the R&D that goes into coming out with that finished product for obviously those players are going to be using it, but like now your everyday players are going to get leveled up as well.
Yeah. I take it all very seriously because I have to satisfy that top player. And if I know he likes it, everybody else is going to like it. And there's a lot of trial and error. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's fun testing out everything out there to really figure out how we can make the best. And, we're usually last to everything. Carbon fiber came out and we were last to that. We want to make sure we don't just do what everyone's doing and put something subpar out there. We want to gather as much feedback as we can on what's doing good, what's doing bad, and then come out with, something of our own. And that's pretty much where we've been, and kind of a carbon fiber jump cue is the latest.
Look, I want to jump into a tournament here, and then I want to transition because I got a bunch of things to talk about with you boys. Hope you guys have a little bit of time here. But I got a special guest here, and part of the reason why I brought you on was because of a tournament. On the note of sponsoring something, you guys are sponsoring our Chuck Markulis tournament coming up out there in Sacramento. Oscar, are you there? He's not there. He's got a black screen. All right, let me send him to the back, and then I'll tell him to refresh a little bit. In the meantime, though, I want to just come up with some of these cool. I want to bring up these. Well, maybe he's back. No. I want to bring up a cool cue I saw you guys had. Well, actually, you guys have had it out for a while. This is one of a few cool cues I've seen from you guys. But I posted on Windows Open. It had a lot of reaction to it, and when I first had heard about this, my first thought was, how come I didn't know about this before? So it's this cue that you guys made for Bad Bunny. And I'll be honest with you. Listen, I'm not the oldest guy in the room, not the youngest guy in the room, but like I didn't know about Bad Bunny until I seen the Super Bowl this past year, And so talk to me about how this cue came to be, and how did it even how, why, when? I want all the details, man.
Well, their what is it?
Nation.
Live Nation contacted us, and they want to do something special for Bad Bunny for his. I think it was his 30th birthday, and it was kind of coming to the end of his tour round, and they wanted to get him something special, and he liked playing pool. And so they asked me, "What do you have?" And I said, "Well, we got these $2,000-3,000 cues." He said, "Well, send it to me." And I sent him a couple other designs. Then he showed them to I think his boss, and he came back and said, "Well, what about those Joseph Pechauer ones you have, or those Cue of the Year ones?" I said, "Well, those are 40-50 grand." And he said, "Okay." And I said, "Okay."
And right, no big deal. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So that was the beginning of it, and without even a concept, they agreed, gave me money down, and we started the project. And our inspiration was probably one of the most fun and almost easy, awesome cues that we've done, because the inspiration was all online. All his tattoos,
Yeah.
they wanted a Western theme because that was that album, that was his tour. There's some little bitty flowers in between the inlays. That's part of his tattoo. Along the very bottom, you can see the barbed wire going across. That's another tattoo. The bunny, there's daggers there. There's swords. So we tried to incorporate every little parts of him. There's the eye, that's his symbol. And then I even put inlays in his carbon fiber shaft that match. So it was really a fun cue. And I guess he wanted to have a pool table at every venue he went to. And, so he's going to a stadium. I want a 9-foot table in my room that I can play an hour on and then just take it away,
It's a crazy breed.
Which, Mike, it was cool. Some of the engagement from people who commented on that post, looks like they also had some inside info. It looks like one of the people that commented set up some of those tables on tour. So that it was cool to see some other people that have been close to him jump on and engage with that too. So it was cool.
Yeah, Blaine Barkus out of Houston. He's actually a really great player in his own right, and I know he does table setup out there in that part of the state. And I remember seeing a few years ago, like I guess whenever he got finished, I didn't know during, but it was like afterward, he was saying, hey, I took this table on tour with this guy and set it up for him, and I was like, okay, cool. And somebody bought it, which was great. I think even the guy who bought the table was there in the thread as well. And it's just great, man. But I gotta imagine though, Joe, there's like this certain level of pressure that comes with knowing that it's one thing if like a celebrity's gonna go and use it, but then it's like, hey man, a lot of people are gonna see this. Like, I mean, a lot of people have the potential to see this cue, so it's got to be just perfect.
Well, we put every effort into it. It was definitely, like I said, it was a fun one to make for how it came together. And once it was sent out, I honestly, you posting this is the first real time the world has seen this, because this is over a year ago, and we've never posted it or put it out there. And we're a lot of times very discreet when we, and don't look for the glamour in some of these things. It's just making something cool for people and getting it to them. So it's,
I didn't even know. I don't remember how I heard about it. I think it might have been around the expo when Jake had told me about it, or kind of like made mention to it, like just kind of in passing. Oh yeah, I made a cue for Bad Bunny, and I'm like, wait, what? Where? Who? Like, can I see this thing? And I thought it was pretty great. So it looks beautiful. Obviously, the craftsmanship is top shelf. All the attention to detail. It looks extremely personal, but at the same time, it's a work of art, man. And you can kind of see that just from like the eye test part of it as well, with all that ebony and turquoise and just the designs. And but at the same time, the execution is just phenomenal. So massive congratulations there. I got a guest here though, boys, that I want to bring in, and I got a couple other cues that I want to ask you guys about here in a little bit. So hang tight for me in that regard. But I got a guest here that I'm going to bring in. Hopefully he got his camera set up right and his audio set up right.
Yeah. What's up, yo?
Oscar Dominguez, welcome back, Abigo. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, man. I got Team Pechauer here from Wisconsin. I want to chat with you about the Chuck Markulis tournament we got coming up this upcoming week out there in Sacramento.
Yeah, we're really excited. By the way, hey guys.
Hey,
Hey,
how's it
Oscar.
going, Oscar?
Hi, Joe. How are you guys? Big shout out to you guys. I've been listening for a while. I don't know why my video and audio went out, but I've been listening for about 15, 20 minutes. And let me just start off with what you guys are doing for the sport has been phenomenal. And as a business owner, one of the biggest things that I take pride in is the little turnover that I have with my employees. And one thing I want to give a shout out to you guys is that one thing I never see is any Pechauer players leaving. They stay with you guys for years and years and years. So big shout out to you guys for being such incredible humans and supporters of the sport, man. Not everybody gives you those accolades, but guys like myself, we're watching.
Appreciate
So
it.
big shout out.
Right back at you, Oscar.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, speaking of Sacramento, we do have Chuck Markulis Memorial, 7,500 added. Big shout out to our sponsors, Aramith Ghost, and obviously our title sponsor, Pechauer. For those of you who have never really played with a Pechauer, we will be having a demo table so you guys can actually try out the products and see for yourself what so many players, especially out in the Midwest, already know about.
Talk to me about how that partnership came to be for the tournament, Oscar, and why you decided to, why you decided to reach out, or why they reached out, and how easy or tough a decision was it to kind of agree to everything.
I think it was when you and I were over at the Super Billiards Expo. We saw the Sophia Mass Stagger line, and right away we're like, "Oh my God, what a great line this came out to be!" And I've obviously known the Pechauers for so many years. Look at that! I mean, just incredible line, and the value that you get for an American-made cue is. I don't know how you guys do it, to be honest with you. At those price points, phenomenal playability and phenomenal workmanship. Yeah, you guys really hit a grand slam here. So knowing all that, it was a very easy decision to go with the Pechauers. Number one, it's easy to work with good people. You know what you're going to get. The word is gold. No issues whatsoever. And there's really Mike, you know this. When we work with people, there's always that pushback. There's always, you know how it is. And that's just normal. Like it's kind of expected in this industry. And working with the Pechauers, it's like, hey, I can provide A and I'm going to need B. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's really that easy.
You don't even know. It's not even A and B. It's like A through Z, homie. You know. So
Yeah, I know.
I've been talking with Jake quite a bit over the last longer than the last few days, but since we first reached out to him, and the amount of help that they've done, like when it comes to just whether it's providing a material or just bouncing off ideas, and it's like it's such a breath of fresh air. Not to say that I don't appreciate other sponsors we've had before in the past for other events, because certainly we have, but they've just gone above and beyond for a lot of things, whether it's material, cue ideas, whatever. And I remember being on that ride to what was the last event we did, Oscar?
We did the Amar.
The Amar, yeah. And there was like one morning, me and you driving out there, and we were kind of just talking about the Chuck, and you mentioned the expo, and that was one thing for me that just kind of stuck out. And I talked about always seeing you guys and the smile on your face and just that Sophia line. And then I remember I had ran back over there later on and I checked out the Camelot line as well and got to hit some balls out there on the old housing table. And but I just remember like it stuck with me, you know. And I was like, well, you know what, let me. And I don't have a relationship with them prior to, but man, I'm glad I reached out, because it has been super positive. And just like when you deal with good people, you want to work that much harder for them as well, and vice versa. And even though you guys are out of the Midwest, I'm pumped to see those cues out there in California. And I know we got a demo table lined up, like Oscar had mentioned. Obviously, we're gonna have a stream coming up. But Oscar, talk to me about the event itself, because we got two tournaments that are going to be going on starting on Thursday.
Yeah, so I bought Hard Times 7 years ago, 6 months before COVID, or excuse me, 11 months before COVID. And part of the agreement was to maintain the Markulis Memorial. And obviously, I said, of course, I'm going to do that. Chuck Markulis was pretty much the biggest promoter of pool on the West Coast back in the 80s and early 90s. So doing this event, it was a no-brainer to continue it, and we just want to keep it going. It's going to be a 2,500 added one pocket, followed by a 5,000 added nine ball. Um, yeah, I mean, it's just been one of the pinnacle events on the West Coast. It's iconic. We get players from Oregon, from Washington State, from Nevada, Arizona, up and down California, obviously. So it's kind of a big reunion of pool players on the West Coast, and it's one of the biggest events out here. So we're honored to have Pechauer as our title sponsor, and I hope they get the reap the rewards and benefits as well.
Jake, talk to me about it from y'all's standpoint. Obviously, I'm sure you guys get hit up a lot for X, Y, and Z throughout the year, but talk to me why you guys decided as a company to come on board and support the event.
Well, I think if Riley hadn't done the massive tournament last year, I'm not sure we would have gone through so many trials, tribulations, ideas, promos, flyers to be able to be confident about doing this. Our confidence level is quite a bit higher that we're excited to take on events. And then, secondary or maybe primary, the respect we've also had our family for Oscar over years has been at the highest level. I mean, anytime we can watch him play, we're tuning in. So to be able to partner with him and his pool hall in a spot that we don't have a large audience or a ton of following was a crazy unique opportunity. And then as well, you, Mike, I mean, we've gotten to watch you grow your audience and the respect you have had coming over to our booth. Like I told you, privately, wanting to spotlight Sophia and respecting our players and saying the nice words. It was an easy yes decision from us. It was just how do we put the pieces together? Because we have two good people in you guys on the other side, an excellent pool hall, which I'm so bummed we haven't been out there, Oscar. We need to get out there sometime soon. And we would be at that tournament, except we're going on a fishing trip.
Yeah.
So, but no, it was an easy decision. The opportunity to work with you guys had a big part in it. And then, it's been more exciting and special the more that we hear about Chuck and we hear about the influence he had. So, I think one of you guys said it earlier. It's a grand slam opportunity that we're happy to rise to the occasion and work with you both.
Talk to me about his influence, Oscar, like you mentioned out there for the California pool community, before you guys bought Hard Times. I've heard tons of stories, man, from.
Oh man, I wish Mike Markulis was here, his son. Just because he's got some incredible stories. So he started off in the music industry. He was a music promoter um, in the 70s, and he was the first person in one of the first people in the country to add $10,000 in cash and pay out in cash. And he just loved the whole idea of action. One of my earliest memories is seeing Chuck up at 4 or 5 in the morning, letting the guys gamble. I'm talking Keith McCready, Steve Mizrek, my dad, King Kong, all the West Coast gamblers that were out there. And Chuck would be sitting in the chair falling asleep because he had been up for like 24 hours. But he'd keep the pool, he'd keep the pool hall open. He didn't care. He wanted the action to keep going. He wanted the tournaments, and he just loved the sport so much. And but yeah, I mean, I remember one time I played actually an employee of ours now. I played him for like 20 something hours straight, 28 hours straight.
Carl?
And yeah,
Yeah.
you already know.
Yeah.
I played him $200 a set. I was 19 years old and I played him 200 a set and I busted Carl um, a lot of hours later. And who was there the whole time? A 70-year-old Chuck Markulis. I mean, just watching every game and say, hey, you guys want something to drink? Or, he was just so
loving it.
excited to see the pool players and he, I got to tell you a quick one. He told, I can speak of him. Ronnie Allen says, Chuck, I need $1,000. And Chuck's like, well, what do you need it for? He's like, well, I got a good game, and here, I'll write you a check. Obviously, the check was no good, right? And and sure enough, Chuck gives him $1,000, and he told Mike's like, his son's like, Dad, why the hell did you do that? Yeah, there's no chance the check's gonna clear. He says, no, no, no. He told me it's good. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, son. I got it. Of course, the check was bad. And he never got paid. But you know what? That was the type of guy he was. He loved pool. He loved the pool players, and it's a real pleasure to keep his honor and legacy alive. And he started the Hard Times brand. They actually owned 7 Hard Times Billiards at one time.
Wow.
So, yeah, so they had a huge chain, and slowly but surely he sold them off. Chuck got older and obviously couldn't help operate all of them because it was just too much. And they ended up keeping Sacramento because the Markulis family is a big into gold mining. They love gold mining. And obviously up here in Northern California is where the gold rush began. So this was their home base, and they sold all the other establishments and ended up selling to me about 8 years after Chuck passed. And then here I am.
Wow.
Here you are.
Mhm.
I don't know if you heard at the beginning, but action is actually a theme of the show so far, because without a $2.50
Yeah.
game out there in Wisconsin, then the Pechauer brand never comes to be as well.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
was it
didn't know that.
Joe? Joe was playing?
No, that was my dad.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, your dad played.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he played
Oh my
years.
God.
Yeah.
That's
Paid a
so funny.
$2.50. The guy couldn't pay up. Gives him a pool cue with no shaft, and the rest is history, as they say. So
Wow. That's an amazing
wow.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Oscar, listen, I appreciate you. I'm going to be out there, I think on Wednesday, and tournament gets kicked off on Thursday. Obviously, we're going to
Mhm.
have a full stream for you guys through Collins and Post Up. So make sure and keep your notifications on for that as well. I know you got a lot going on, amigo, so I'll let you go. I'm going to keep on
Yes.
with the boys about some cues and stuff. But you got anything else before I get you out of here?
No, no. Thank you so much to the Peach Hour family and to all the players on the Western United States who come out to support our events, and to everybody who participates in the raffle. Um, you know, we want to keep the good times rolling, and thank you for your support.
Nice.
All right, Oscar.
Great seeing
All
you.
right.
We'll see you later,
Likewise,
amigo.
guys. All right. Be safe. I'll see you.
Later, buddy. Hey, listen, guys, I really appreciate it, obviously, from a number of different standpoints. But, it's been great, like I mentioned a little bit ago, just having, dealing with great people. And I remember the first time, I think I went to a trade show, might have been my first trade show, and I was, bouncing around, asking people questions. And I think it was you, Joe, I went up to, and I was like, hey, can I film you a little bit asking, about the brand and whatever? And you were like a deer in headlights, and you were like,
Did I say no or yes?
I think you said yes. I'm sure I got the video somewhere on some OneDrive or something.
I was probably stuttering all
That
the way
sounds
through it.
about
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, he was like, but no, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It's like when you're dealing with people, you never know where a relationship's going to go, or later on down the road or whatever, whether it's customers or people within the industry or whatever. And so it's great coming full circle here and having you guys on. But yeah, no, I'm pumped for obviously the Chuck, and it's a yearly thing that we do out there, and it gets a lot of people from all over the country going out there. And it ain't a bad time. It ain't a bad time of year to be out there in Northern California, that's for sure. But before I brought Oscar on, there was some more cues that were on deck that I wanted to chat with you guys about, and I want to bring up one other one here that just kind of stuck out here to me. Let me see if I have it queued up here. Talk to me about this cue here, boys, because this thing is nuts.
That was one of the ones we made for the Pennsylvania show, the Cue of the Year contest. So just I can't even read how many inlays. There's
1100.
1100. Yeah, there's a ton of inlays in that. So basically the cue makers, it's kind of a ego fest, maybe you'd call it, to see who can make the prettiest and get everybody to vote and have yours win and get a little promotion out of it. A ton of time goes into those to where I stopped doing them after a couple of years ago because it just, when you spend that many months on a queue like that, it just takes a lot of resources. And it's, if somebody said today, hey, I want to have one built, well, okay, of course I'll build one. But unless I have a buyer for it right now, we have so many projects that we are always working on that it's hard to put the time into those.
It says 1,176 inlays, 198 are abalone, 48 gold veins. It's got some ivory in there, some ebony, some gold, and 72 pieces of silver. Who cooks these ideas up, and how do you go from like here to computer to the wood?
Honestly, it's usually it's a team effort. One of us, whether it might be one of the sales guys, my CNC guy, me, somebody else in the shop. We start a lot of times with just a rough concept, and from there we just keep expanding as we get different ideas, and we get to a result of this one I named after my grandmother, who was an amazing lady, and it's cool to give her the honor of having her name on something also.
I didn't even know that part. That's pretty sweet, man. My mom was everything to me, so I love hearing that. So obviously you submitted for Q of the Year. If you don't mind me asking, how did you guys do that year when it was submitted?
That one we won. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I think we basically won
13, 15, 17.
13, 15, 17. Yeah, odd years when we had more time. It seemed like every other year we had more effort we could put into them. And then we kind of fizzled away from it and just took our emphasis off of that.
Obviously you mentioned the time and the resources and all those things, but like that seems to be something that every year fans kind of look forward to. Do you think maybe in the near future you might reconsider going back and submitting another one, especially considering your success you've had before?
I would if I had the right inspiration for the right cue, because the problem with that I'll call it curse probably, and all three of us have it, is we can't just settle for the best. We keep going to the end to get the very best, and it really is a lot to get there. And
sure.
It's a lot. Many times it's not easy. And if I know that I can't get it to the finish line, then I'm not going to start it. That's really where I'm at. And really we've been doing a lot more different things instead. We're doing stuff with the Wounded Warriors. We benefit for them, for those Purple Heart recipients. We do a lot of raffles our players get to do.
Breast cancer. We like to celebration queues.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different projects. That take away from that one thing. But like you said, people do look forward to it. So
give me the inspiration.
Should put the Bad Bunny queue.
Maybe
in there,
right?
Listen, that thing was fire. I'm not gonna lie, but no, listen, I love that. I remember seeing that Wounded Warriors one, and I posted on our Windows Open when I saw you at the trade show, and it was with Olhausen, if I remember right,
yes.
last year. And so I love stuff like that, and obviously because of you guys do stuff like that because that's just who you are. But like people should know about that because that's just more of who you guys are as your character, as your brand, as your family. You know what I mean? And so I know the publicity isn't why you do it. Obviously, it's to raise funds for whoever you're doing it for. But it's just great seeing companies like that get involved, and obviously y'all's partnership with Dan and how much did y'all end up raising for them? Because I know it went on for a little bit.
It was a little over 20,000.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Which is awesome. And Dan was a big part of that too. He made a beautiful table. He also set one up at their camp. I think he may have donated up to probably 5 of those tables. They're valued around 10,000. So with little collabs with Dan here and there. I mean, he's a great guy. His values are really, really aligned with ours. So it's really fun to work together. And he's really become a good friend too.
Who's the one doing that vetting process? Because like I said, imagine a lot of people are knocking on the door from time to time, but obviously the quality of who you're involved with, and you mentioned David and April amongst others. But who's the one that's saying, hey, I'm giving the stamp of approval here? Is that right?
Yeah, it's a lot. And I'm sure there's a lot of juniors, there's a lot of, just amateurs that reach out, and I wish we could support them all. But at the end of the day, it's really the juniors we want to help out first and foremost. And then it's, all right, are we in a position where we can go after another player like a David? And right now, we're not, but we're always looking to bring on additional juniors. And that's a lot of the times at the Super Billiards Expo, we'll pick up a couple. Back when the juniors were at the BCA show, we were able to get some there. But it's tough. A lot of people reach out. I'm sure they're all great kids. And we can't sponsor them all, but we usually try to take on at least a few every year and see where that goes. But yeah, it's tough saying no, obviously.
Sure.
But I always say, in another year or two, if you'd like to reach out, we can see if it works then. And I really mean it, because I do want to circle back and see if some of these kids are still in it, and we can do that. And, a lot of our players, they'll graduate high school and they'll move on and go to college or do something else. And that's awesome. All we wanted to do was support them in their youth pool career. And that's really all it is. If they do happen to go pro or, compete beyond that, then we're happy to be a part of that as well.
I love that, man. That's pretty sweet. And you're right. I mean, listen, it's not a never-ending well, so you got to be able to draw a line somewhere, but it's great to just be able to when you can, and if you can't, that's okay too, and so let me ask you this. When people think about whether it's existing customers or like past customers or potential customers, what do you want them to think about when they think about the Pechauer brand? Like, what do you want to come to mind when they think about y'all's company? No pressure, boys.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I think quality is our biggest thing. It's when we started out, my dad and I, we didn't advertise. We just would start. I ran the shop. He did the sales, and every new area he would get, we would guarantee we won't sell to anyone else in your area. That enabled that dealer to build our brand, because you don't just build it overnight. You get one guy playing with it, and he plays on league. Another guy hits with it, and that's what established our base, and that's why we really we cherish that, and we try to protect our dealers the best that we can. Online sales, we're tough on our online retailers to where they don't undercut prices, to where brick and mortar, everything's competitive for each other, so nobody steps on the other, and we respect every one of those dealers, and anytime they need anything, we want to try and help them out.
But I think also quality in the fact that we control the process from start to finish. We go hand pick the logs. I mean, he's up there a few times a year. We'll go with them, and we have the help of a past forestry professor up in Michigan that helps kind of direct what he thinks a good log will be. And I mean, that expertise is obviously brushed off on Dad here, but it's a lot of fun. You bid on logs. Some years you might get 20, some years you might get 60, and then it's cutting all those, and then the shop smelling like logs for a long time, and putting those in the kiln and doing everything from start to finish. I mean, he's got his hand in every step of the way. And so when you do it like that, you can really control the quality and make sure everything is as perfect as perfect gets.
And there's been a lot of times, Mike, where a cue it's finished, but there is the tiniest detail that there's a piece of the finish. There's something, and he typically won't let it leave. He would rather upset the customer.
A bucket in his office full of nice cues that will never go anywhere.
Because it needs.
I love that though, Joe. I do. I love hearing that. Because I can remember being at the Divinity shop one time, and it was the same thing. It was a beautiful cue, and I forgot what was wrong with it, but Pat was like, "Yeah, we can go hit balls with it, but just it'll stay at the shop." I'm like, "Well, why? Just sell it, And then he's like, "But this is wrong with that's wrong with it," and I was like, "But it's fine. No one's gonna notice." And he's like, "But I notice," And I think it's that standard is the reason why people, number one, respect you, but two, appreciate the quality, and it's that consistent quality throughout as well.
For sure.
Yeah.
Real quick here, I want to share this video with you guys. Hang tight. American made, which I just love. And as I saw that video a few times, then I caught, hey, there's Jake in there and you can tell you guys are teenagers in there. You know what I mean? And so, yeah.
Yeah, one of those summers.
Why stay American made, boys? I'd imagine that, with the cost of everything going up and just in general, keeping things here is just an ever growing challenge. Talk to me about that and just why you guys have decided to kind of stay true to who you are.
Back a few years back when a couple of large companies started getting a lot of their brand from China, I entertained that. I thought, what if I just do my lower end stuff there? I looked into companies, got the information I needed, then really did soul searching. It's like, no, this is who we are. It's if I do even one thing, coming in importing one thing, that'll tarnish the whole brand, the whole name, and I would not risk that. And I would rather do the slow, steady progression up than go for that quick gratification of getting something cheap, selling it for a 4 times the price, making a good yield. But that's not what we're about. It's what we do is personal. We feel personal as the team that I have in the shop helping. Everything is very personal to this group, and that's what makes things, I think, enjoyable for the workout, for the work day, and just making the product the best we can. But the imports, and I mean, that's an important part of a lot of people's business, especially I'm sure a lot of your sponsors. So I'm never going to badmouth any of these people that are importing and doing that, because everybody has their different lane that they draw, go in. This is just a lane we've decided, and there are a lot of people that love American made, and there's a lot of people that just want to get what they get, and it doesn't matter where it comes from. So, to us, the perception American made, I'd put red, white, and blue on everything we could to brag about that as much as I can. But people would probably get pretty tired of that after a while.
No, I don't think so, man. Not in this day and age. And it is, listen, I would understand either side of the coin for sure, but there is like something when it comes to like legacy and tradition and having, like you said, it's your lane, it's your values, your principles, and so boys, I want to ask you, like, hearing that, like, that's a lot of responsibility on y'all's shoulders going forward, it sounds like.
For sure. And like when he mentioned years ago, those companies came together, and like I said earlier in the show, he was kind enough to let us know what those conversations look like and what the money on the table really was. And it was all, to Jake and I, a non-negotiable. Like, you built this yourself through all your hard work. Like, I remember not seeing you at home because you were fixing a machine till midnight, or you're going and bidding on eBay for X, Y, and Z till until midnight. And he put in his blood, sweat, and tears into this place, and we're not going to let him just sell out like that. We got to, keep building what he built. And the pressure's there for sure. And we're fortunate to have him here until he's ready to step away.
Or until they push me away. One of the two.
But no, it's been awesome.
And I'll repeat myself. I've said this a lot, but you see there's one of him in the middle. I'm glad there's 2 of us to try to pick everything up moving forward.
For sure.
They're talking nice now, but they put me in my place every day too. So
that's how family is, though, right?
Exactly right. Exactly right.
But like what I could tell you, Joe, is that at least the conversations that I've had with Jake recently, I've always said that and I've always said that your kids are a reflection of you, and so you should be proud. And so obviously I haven't gotten a chance to speak with Riley as much as Jake, especially over the last few weeks, but like, that's something as a parent I love hearing, and so holding those values true and those principles that are, like you said, non-negotiable. You got a standard, and it seems like that's just in their heart and their blood and in their soul, man.
Yeah, and I'm proud of them. They're going to do great.
I love it. Well, listen, boys,
up here.
What's that?
the future is wide open for these guys here. It's just a matter of which way they want to bring it.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And listen, I mean, it's great having, obviously you guys went to school and got, education and all those things and got things to fall back on. It sounds like if things were to ever going to happen, but like, it's great that you guys came back into an industry that essentially has been the reason why you guys are able to be in the position that you're in, and so I love when things kind of come, full circle like that. Now, part of whenever we were talking, Jake, is that, and at the beginning, I'll be honest with you. So like when I thought about Pechauer, I thought of it more as a production company. At least that was the perception that I thought going into it. You know what I mean? But I'll be honest, I didn't have a whole lot of experience with Pechauer cues until I would see you guys out in Philly, um, at the expo. But through the course of our conversations, listen, I'm a guy who likes to like have things my way, you know what I mean? And so I want things customizable. I want things to, be a certain way. But I've noticed that a lot of times with custom cue makers, ooh, especially over the last like 10 years, it seems like there's been this transition to custom cue makers not wanting to do things custom because they don't want to deal with customers calling in, you know, 5 times in a day to check on the status of their queue. They don't wanna deal with the changes that people are going and making. And one of the things that I thought was, a major plus, but I was real surprised, was what you guys have cooking, coming up here pretty soon. And I wanna play this video. Maybe you guys can kinda walk me through this here a little bit as well. This seems to be the beginning of a website you guys have coming up, launching here pretty soon.
Yep. So we're bringing back the customizer tool. We had it on our old website, but you'll be able to choose stain colors. A little known fact about us, we can make cues for other joints. So at least if we have half of your equipment, we're on the right path. And then, changing the wrap section. If you're like me and your hand's a little sweaty, you might need leather or linen wrap. Or if you're cool as a cucumber, you can use a no wrap. Change the stain color of that wrap. And then at the bottom, you'll see that there's an opportunity to actually change the colors of the inlays, personal engraving at the bottom that I know is special to some. It's giving the consumer and everyone out there an opportunity to create a cue that is theirs. And I think that's one of the really cool pieces that we've gotten as feedback. People come to us and they don't bring a product, they bring a story to us. They bring the same emotion that they had when they purchased it from someone at our company 20 years ago, what they changed, what their friends have told them. I think that's why you see the joy that we have at the Philly Expo, Mike. We're flooded with stories and flooded with experiences from people who have, been playing with our cues. So the opportunity to give them another chance to completely customize almost all aspects of the cues that we have in our line was important to us.
And I'm not gonna lie. So obviously, if you know me, I like shoes, right? And part of when I'll go on the Nike app and I'll try to customize my own stuff. Don't get me wrong. There's there's a lot of stuff that's more mass produced that I can appreciate, and I love that flavor and that style and what they come up with as well. Part of what I enjoy is, and I've done with my girls before as well, is I'll go on the app and I'll change this and that and the other. And what's cool about looking on here is that as you're updating things or as you're selecting things, it's showing you real time what it's going to look like before you can submit and say, yes, I'm good with it.
Yep. And that's why it's been a year and a half in the making.
Yeah.
It's a lot to path those individual inlays and stain colors out and put those in as a layer and really get that all into one. So it's been a lot of work, but we've had this vision for a long time and we're excited to release it.
Joe, I'm nervous for you when I see that tool. I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, trust me, the shop is also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what?
That's why. I think you mentioned you always thought of us as production company, and the reason I think that happens is because we do make a lot of cues, because we want to show a lot of options, and we have literature for our dealers for our cues. So we make it. We kind of have that commercial look. But every single one of our cues is made to order. You want something different, you want a different tip, you want a different stain, you want different inlays, whatever you want, we will do. But we still have to have standard models for the dealers to just be able to buy and sell in the retail stores. So that's where that that commercial or that production look comes in. And for us, we try to make them as efficient as we can. And to your point, or to Oscar's, our prices are really good prices. And that's why we do that, is we just work to be as efficient as we can, to be able to do as much as we can for people.
No, and I'll echo that same thing that he said. And to be honest with you, like I mentioned, my experience was very limited, and it was even more so this past year in Philly, or this past expo, I should say, because when I've been seeing Sophia play, and I think this is her last junior nationals, if I'm not mistaken, this upcoming year. But I've been watching her kind of grow up over the last 5 years, and whenever she decided to partner up with you guys, and it's great, it's cool and all, but then to see her come out with the line, it's like, man, it's awesome. Then to see the quality of it. And then I remember talking, I don't remember which one of you boys it was, but you guys started talking about the customization aspects of it, the range and pricing as well, which I thought was cool. But the customized part, I thought was like, I had no idea, and I'd like to think I'm more on the sharper side of the industry. And so and I think, like, if I don't know that, how many other people don't know that? And so that's why I loved kind of part of the reason why I wanted to have you guys on as well, because that's awesome, man. Especially in this day and age where people, like, even though it's more convenient one way, you still want to give them that personal touch, and something that's going to be completely unique and a one-of-one to that person, to that customer, if they want to go down that road.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I see you have a few tattoos there also. We had one guy that it was the full size of the inlay, it was a full long inlay. It was probably 14 inches or so. That was in his cue. He's got that on the inside of his arm. So the exact inlay on his cue, he's got on his arm. So
man, listen, I don't know if I'd go that far, but to each their own, you know what I mean? But no, I listen, it's going against a lot of things that are shifting right now in the industry. And I love that you guys are pushing against that wave like that, because that's what separates it. It's the American made part. It's being able to still be customizable part. It's the part where you're calling in and you're speaking with somebody and they're going to listen to you, and so all those things are something that you don't get in so many other industries. I was just dealing with internet companies and power companies this past week, because stuff going on down here. And it's like, you'll have so much more patience and things along that same line when you hear somebody's voice, and they understand where you're coming from. Let me ask you this. So on that note of patience, if I'm going in there, let's say today, right, and or whenever the website launches, I go and I select the queue, what's turnaround time like? Because we mentioned that before, as far as like wanting things, sooner than later, and people are a lot more impatient, myself included, these days. What's a turnaround time like for a custom queue from you guys?
It really depends on what they change and how much they change.
Sure.
It could be 4 weeks. It could be 12 weeks.
That still ain't bad, really.
Yeah. I mean, we try really, we want them to get their queue. So we do everything we can. Some queues, a lot more complicated. We got to make special, start out special from scratch right at the beginning. Those may take 3 to 4 months. And that's for truly like Bad Bunny type of queues. But some guys will say 2 to 3 years. We're 2 to 3 months, and we don't like it being that long, because we want to get these queues to people. But there is that whole process you got to go through.
I am blown away by that answer. You have no idea, because like I said, I've been in many shops around the country, and usually, like, it's funny because maybe I'm just like, I've been around a while. So when someone will tell me, I'll get your queue done in about 6 months, in my head I'm thinking, okay, let me times that times 3, and that's usually like and if you're lucky, the times 3 is a conservative number. So they tell me 6 months. At a year and a half, then I'm like, okay, maybe at a year and a half I'll start knocking on their door again and seeing what's up. But like, that's crazy to think about. 3 to 4 months, that's super fast in this world, Joe.
Oh, we try.
Yeah, that's just wild to think about. And so when are you guys planning on launching the website for that option for customers?
Hopefully by the end of the month, first thing in July. So only a few more weeks out. However, we've been saying that for a bit now internally. So I don't want to make any promises, but just the JP series at first will be customizable. Like I said, that's a long, play, getting all those layers pathed out. But the Pro Series will be next, and then we can start working on, Sophia's and the Champion line and the Camelots and, everything else we can make fully customizable. But to start, it'll just be the JP and really shafts. Everything else you'll be able to customize as well.
I mean, everything is custom. Sophia's, obviously, they're all customizable, same price, change your stains, change, different things. Not a big deal, but we just don't have the ability to show it yet.
Just got to call in.
Got to use your imagination.
Sure. No, but even that part's great. And y'all told me this about her line in particular, and I think it was the, like, because it's a range when it comes to price points, but I think it was on the lower end when you guys first told me that, and I was like, man, that's great. Because if you see it, you already like it, but then you're like, you know, everyone's always like, I wish it would look like this, or I wish it had that, or if it was only this color, that color, and you're like, well, we got you, we can do that for you.
Yep.
So it's just unheard of these days, and I just love that aspect, man. And so, but hey, listen, I told you guys it'd be about an hour. We're about an hour 20 into it. I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. Do y'all got anything else before we get you out of here, as far as things you want to, relay to your maybe current customers, potential customers, future customers?
Shout out to the women out in Michigan this weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep kicking butt. I know there's a few out there doing well. We're always watching. Otherwise, to you, obviously, safe travels out there next week and have fun. Wish we could be out there.
I know.
And everyone in the shop who's busting their balls every day to, do what we're doing.
It's us three on the screen right here, but we work alongside with, and in some ways we work for the people that work with us. It is really awesome. I think I've bragged to a lot of people the retention rate here, and it was cool. I thought Oscar, it's like, where did he have a hidden camera? Because I thought he was going to say, when he was talking about people never leave you, we're so fortunate with people that work with us here, that they've been here many years. And for that, point right at his leadership, right at his work ethic that they want to work alongside of. So, I mean, yes, this is us three sitting in these chairs, but who we get to work with every day is an absolute blessing. And then obviously that leads us to opportunities like this. So appreciate you, Mike, everything you've done for us. And it's going to be a fun, this is just the beginning. We have a whole, 10 days now through the Chuck tournament. So.
No, I mentioned that part, like when you deal with good people, like you want to work that much harder for them. And this is like the best example of it, because y'all's enthusiasm and positive energy and just like attitude in general has just been a breath of fresh air. And the only thing I can compare it to is when I go to junior nationals, because junior nationals is the one event where you're just like, they're not, they don't care about anything happening in the pool world. They just want to play pool and love life, you know what I mean? And that same kind of vibe that I get from you guys and Jake, especially after speaking with them so many times. And so from whether it's the conversations we've had to the material to whatever, like it's just been the pleasure's been all mine, believe me. And so I'm excited to go out there to Sacramento. We're gonna have queues for raffle, obviously, as well. We are gonna have queues, more importantly, if you're gonna be at the tournament to go demo. So if you're there, or if you're in the area, or if you're not playing a tournament, come by and hang out. You can try out. They're gonna send us a bunch of stuff for you guys to be able to hit balls with and go enjoy. And that's really the best part about anything, is like I want to go play some pool. And so I'm pumped for next week. And on that note, before I get you guys out of here, who's the better of the player between you three? Is that right?
On any given day.
Yeah, Riley saying no.
Given day.
We go back and forth.
It'll go back and forth.
Recency bias says me. Overall, he might have the slight edge.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, next time I'm around you boys, we may have to go and get that on film, and we'll have to settle it for once and for all.
Yeah.
All right.
That sounds good.
Hey, listen, I appreciate your time. I know it was a busy week and you guys have a lot going on out there in Wisconsin. I'm going to try to make it out there for the Women's World 8 Ball Championship, but if not, for sure, I'll be seeing you guys out there in Philly. And I'm excited to kind of take a look at the cues whenever we get there. And just from me to you and from everyone in Sacramento and everyone's going to the tournament, we sincerely appreciate y'all's support. And so, we thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks
for having us on.
Yes, thanks, Mike.
All right, boys. We'll see you guys a little later on. Stay tuned because I got more shows coming up a little later on. And go enjoy. Check out the WPBA stream. It's on right now, you guys. We'll see y'all.